Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I would be angry as well if Putin would do such a thing to me as he did to Kadyrov. And after your units and people die to gain victory in Mariupol, I think that was a weasel move from Kadyrov's perspective. So let's see what's going on here. This article comes from Business Insider from September 22nd, 2022. And this is the title. One of Putin's closest allies sharply criticized Russia's decision to free right-wing Ukrainian Azov troops. His forces battled during Mariupol siege. True 100%. Putin's military ally said he was blistered by the Ukraine-Russian prisoner swap. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov said that he was extremely unhappy about the deal. In particular, he took issue with the fact that senior Azov Battalion figures were freed. I would take issue too, especially when you said they are Nazis and then you release them. And then one of Vladimir Putin's top military allies broke rank and sharply criticized the Russian-Ukrainian prisoner swap, claiming he and his Chechen colleagues were blistered. I think so. Ramzan Kadyrov, Chechenia's leader and typically a staunch Putin supporter, took issue with the fact that around 100 Ukrainian Azov Regiment soldiers, a battalion associated with the neo-Nazis, were returned to Ukraine. Now, remember, they all say that Putin is all powerful and nobody will dare to criticize him. Look at this. And not only this, I haven't heard people criticizing Zelensky, not because he's a saint, as he is, obviously, but because a lot of arrests occurred with claims that, or allegations or accusations that those were Russian collaborators and traitors. So probably they got the message: criticize Zelensky and then you're going to disappear for a while or forever. So it says here that in the early months of the war, Chechen soldiers conscripted to help Russian soldiers clashed with Ukrainian Azov fighters in Mariupol as Russia briefly occupied the city. It's still occupied. What do you mean briefly? Kadyrov said Thursday he was extremely unhappy with the swap, calling the Azov fighters terrorists. And I'm quoting, "I'm extremely unhappy about yesterday's news. The whole situation doesn't even make sense to me," Kadyrov said in a Telegram post, according to a translation by Russian outlet Meduza. And I'm quoting, "Whenever combat or tactical decisions have been made, they've always consulted with us, the active participants in the special military operation. But now, nothing," right? On Wednesday, Ukrainian President of Ukraine Zelensky, Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak, said in an update posted in the administration's Telegram channel that 215 Ukrainians were returned as a result of the prisoner swap, which Yermak added was also negotiated by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, along with 55 Russian fighters. Viktor Medvedchuk, an MP and one of Putin's staunchest Ukrainian allies, was sent to Russia. Reuters reported he was arrested by Ukrainian authorities in April. Among the 215 Ukrainians released were 100 fighters from the controversial hard right-wing Azov Battalion, which Russia has previously called neo-Nazis. Some founding members of the preliminary group, which sprouted as a result of Russia's 2014 invasion of Crimea, have also worn Nazi paraphernalia and ascribed to the moniker. And I'm quoting, handing over even one of those Azov terrorists should have been out of the question, Kadyrov wrote in his post. He also added that he would continue following Putin's orders. And I'm quoting, those at the top of the defense ministry and the FSB can see things much more clearly, end quote, Kadyrov wrote, adding that his forces would adhere to one main unshakable principle, that we will follow all orders from our commander-in-chief, end quote. On Wednesday, 10 foreign fighters fighting on behalf of Russia who were captured by Russia, including 2 Americans, were also released in a settlement negotiated in part by Saudi Arabia. The bilateral prisoner swap is a massive coup for Ukrainians who have made considerable gains against Russian invaders in recent weeks. Well, of course this issue could be seen from many angles, and let's see it from Kadyrov angle, and then we'll see it from the Russians angle. First, Kadyrov, he fought with his boys, his army. He captured those. They fought hard. Russia labeled those terrorists and Nazis. Therefore, remember, one of the 4 reasons why Russia invaded Ukraine was to get rid of the Ukrainian Nazis. How do you get rid of Ukrainian Nazis? You catch them, you either kill them or you put them in jail forever, right? Isn't that the Americans, the Russians, the Brits, and everybody else did with the guys after the Second World War? After the Second World War, with the Nazis. Remember Nuremberg trial? Now these guys, if they were Nazis, they should have gone to a trial like that one, and they would have found guilty and hanged. All right, but 1, right, or 2 or 3, they were not hanged. But anyway, but the 5 commanders that were released, they would have been hanged with no problem, because they were the commanders. They were in Azov Battalion. They fought in Mariupol. What else evidence you have? You need to have. And no, you release them. Now, from a Kadyrov, obviously he doesn't understand how in the hell that happened. And I think he feels like he was stabbed in the back. Now, from the Russians' perspective, again, that is a very much a dissonance, cognitive dissonance right there. What do you mean? Are they Nazis or they're not Nazi? How do you release these guys but you say they're Nazis? They're terrorists but they're not terrorists. You convicted them, you charge them and convict them. Death penalty for the guys and some foreign fighters that were released. And you release them? What? Are you serious about it? Or this is just a game for you and people die for that? I mean, warriors died, soldiers died. So you just get the 50 back for 215 plus those commanders. You get that individual. I personally dislike that a lot. And I'm not involved in the whole thing whatsoever. I'm just observing here and yapping around. But I don't think that was fair for the soldiers, for the principle, for people who died, for their families. No, whatsoever. And Kadyrov obviously is going to follow Putin's order. What he's going to do? He wants to die? No. So what options he's got? To say he's not going to fight? To start fighting against Russia? That's not an option. But here it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.